There was a loud, angry argument in the rain. Celi, a 28 years old, dressed in modern clothes, is yelling at her mother. Carmen, in her mid-50s, on a cramped Manila street as water pours off the corrugated metal roofs. Celia said to her mother, "You want me to be grateful? For this? For a life of suffering and silence? I will never be like you." "Never." Carmen doesn't yell back. She just looks at her daughter with a deep, tired sadness that is more powerful than any anger. She turns and walks away into the rain. Celia stands there, soaked and shaking. We then jump back in time to 3 weeks earlier. In Hong Kong, Celia is a successful modern nanny for a wealthy family. She lives in a clean, high-rise apartment. She is on a video call with her mother in the Philippines. Carmen asks for money, again, for a family emergency. Celia sends it but is clearly annoyed. She feels distant from her old life. She received a phone call. Celia's younger brother, June, is on the line. His voice is panicked. "8, it's Nene. She's in the hospital. It's bad. You need to come home." Celia arrives in Manila. The city is loud, hot, and chaotic compared to Hong Kong. She goes to the small, cramped family house in a poor neighborhood. She sees how worn out everything is. At the hospital, the doctor says Carmen has a severe heart condition. She needs a very expensive operation. The family has no savings. The medical bills are already piling up. The weight of the responsibility falls directly on Celia. Celia tries to talk to her mother about the money. Where did it all go? Celia has been sending money home for years. Carmen is evasive. It was for the family. For you and your brother. Celia feels a rising anger. She thinks her mother was irresponsible. While looking for documents in her mother's old trunk, Celia finds a stack of hidden pawnshop tickets and unpaid bills. Underneath them, she finds an old, faded photo. It shows a young Carmen, smiling, holding the hand of a wealthy-looking Chinese Filipino man. It is not her father. Celia looks at her sick, sleeping mother, realizing she knows nothing about her at all. Celia investigates. She tracks down the man in the photo, Mr. Lim, a now older business owner. He is surprised to see her. He tells her a story about her mother she never knew. And he narrated, "Young Carmen, Celia's mother in her 20s is beautiful and bright. She works as a salesgirl in Mr. Lim's department store. They fall in love, but Mr. Lim's family arranges a marriage for him with a woman from a rich family. He is forced to leave Carmen. He did not know she was pregnant with Celia. Back in the present, Mr. Lim gives Celia an envelope of money for her operation. I owe her that much." Celia is stunned. This changes everything. Celia uses the money for the hospital. She confronts Carmen, who is now awake. "Why did you never tell me? You raised me alone. You struggled all these years because of him." Carmen's response is not what she expects. "I did it for you. So you would never feel like a secret. So you would only have my name. My pride." Celia starts to see her mother's life in a new light. She talks to a neighbor, Arling Nena, who knew Carmen back then. Arling Nena tells stories of Carmen working 3 jobs, fighting off gossip, and refusing to beg from Mr. Lim, all to give Celia a good education and a chance to escape. Celia's brother, Jun, gets into trouble. He borrowed money from a local loan shark to help with the bills and can't pay it back. 2 rough-looking men show up at their house looking for him. Carmen, still weak, stands in front of them to protect her son. Celia arrives home just in time to see them shove her mother. Celia, furious, pays off Chun's debt with the last of her own savings. She screams at Jun for his irresponsibility. She then turns her anger on Carmen. "This is what your pride did. You taught him to be helpless. You never asked for help. so he never learned to be strong. Your suffering didn't make us better. It just trapped us here. A massive argument erupts. All the buried resentments come out. Celia throws all her sacrifices in her mother's face working abroad, missing her own life. Carmen fires back, her voice shaking with pain. Everything I did for you. My life is my gift to you. And you call it a trap? My love is a trap? Jun, shamed and angry, packs a bag. He says he will find work in the province and not be a burden anymore. He leaves. The family is now broken in every way. The house is silent and cold. Carmen and Celia do not speak. The cultural gap between them feels like a giant wall. Celia with her modern idea of talking about problems. Carmen with her traditional idea of silent sacrifice. Carmen gets worse. The doctor says the stress of the fight set her recovery back. She needs the operation now, or she will die. But the money from Mr. Lim is gone, and Celia has nothing left. Celia looks at her dying mother and makes a hard, desperate decision. She calls her old agency in Hong Kong and tells them she is coming back, ready to work any job for any amount of advance pay. Celia tells Carmen she is going back to Hong Kong to get the money for the operation. Carmen begs her not to go. I would rather die than see you slave away for me again. Celia says, it's my turn to sacrifice. You taught me how. As Celia prepares to leave, she finds her mother's old recipe book. She remembers how her mother's homemade candies, pastillas de leche, were famous in their neighborhood. An idea sparks. Instead of leaving, Celia decides to use her mother's skill. She takes the little money she has left and buys ingredients. She and Aling Nena start making batches of the candies. Celia uses her modern skills. She doesn't just sell them in the neighborhood. She posts pictures on Facebook and Instagram. She takes orders online. She gets her brother Jun to help with deliveries when he calls to check in. The small business starts to grow. Carmen, from her bed, watches her daughter work. She sees Celia's modern mind and her own traditional skills combining into something new and strong. She doesn't say anything, but her eyes are full of new respect. A big order comes in from a wedding. It's their chance to make enough money for the operation deposit. But they need to finish it in one night. Weak but determined, Carmen gets out of bed. Without a word, she sits at the kitchen table and starts wrapping candies. Mother and daughter work side by side in silence, not as adversaries but as partners. The operation is successful. Carmen will live. The family business, Carmen's pastillas, is now a small but steady source of income. Celia talks to her brother. She apologizes for her anger. She says they will run the business together as a real family. Jun agrees to come home and learn properly. As Celia sits with her mother in the hospital garden, Celia speaks from the heart. I understand now, Nene. Your choices were not weak. They were the strongest thing I have ever seen. I was angry because
Celia
I saw
has
your
a
life,
choice.
and I was afraid of
Her
it.
old job in Hong
But now
Kong
I
wants
see
her
it
back.
is where I get my strength
But
from.
now, she has a
Carmen
business and a
holds her
family
daughter's
in Manila.
hand. She decides
I am
to
not
stay.
angry you wanted a different
She will
life.
grow Carmen's
I wanted that
pastillas
for you.
and use her international
I just wanted you to look
experience
back at me
export
without
the
shame.
products. She is not rejecting her modern self. She is merging it with her roots. After successfully building a family business, Celia's ambition to expand her mother's legacy puts her on a collision course with a ruthless corporate rival, forcing her to become the very thing she once hated to protect everything her mother sacrificed for. A black car pulls up in front of Celia's small, bustling pastillas shop. A well-dressed, intimidating man in his 50s, Dante Santiago, gets out. He enters the shop, looks around with a cold smile, and offers to buy Celia's business. She politely refuses. His smile vanishes. He leans in and says, quietly but clearly, "It was not an offer, Ms. Reyes. It was a courtesy. My company, Santiago Foods, is developing this entire block. You will sell, or you will be buried with it." He drops a business card on the counter and leaves. 6 months after the first series finale, Carmen's Pastillas is a local success. The family is stable and happy. Celia is a minor local celebrity. She is approached by a friendly investor, ISAY, who owns a small chain of coffee shops. She wants to stock Celia's pastillas. It's a huge opportunity. Celia is excited, but Carmen is hesitant. Slow growth is strong growth, she warns. Big money comes with big problems. June is all for it, dreaming of fancy equipment and a bigger shop. The first crack in their new unity appears. Celia meets Isay and finalizes the deal. It means scaling up production significantly. She takes out a small business loan to buy new equipment, using the shop as collateral. The pressure is on. Dante Santiago's company begins its pressure campaign. A city health inspector shows up unannounced, citing minor, frivolous violations. A permit for their new sign is mysteriously delayed. It's annoying, but Celia brushes it off as bad luck. The first big delivery to Isay's coffee shops is due tomorrow. June stays late at the shop to finish the order. Celia gets a phone call in the middle of the night. It's the police. There's been a fire at the shop. The family rushes to the shop. It's not completely destroyed, but the new equipment is ruined, and the entire batch of pastillas is lost. The fire marshal says it was an electrical fault due to overloaded circuits. Celia knows the wiring was new and perfect. They can't make the delivery. Isay is understanding but firm. She needs a reliable supplier. She has to cancel the contract. The family has no product to sell and no income, but the bank loan still needs to be paid. Debt collectors start calling. The sense of security they worked so hard to build evaporates overnight. The family argues. Jun, feeling guilty for being the last one there, withdraws. Carmen looks at Celia with a silent, "I told you so," that hurts more than yelling. Desperate, Celia swallows her pride and goes to Dante Santiago's office to accept his buyout offer. He laughs. The offer is now 50% lower than before. "The value of your business has changed," he says. "Take it, or I'll wait for the bank to foreclose and get it for nothing." At her lowest point, Celia remembers her mother's strength. She remembers the stories of Carmen fighting back alone. She isn't alone now. She calls a family meeting. "We are not giving up. We started with nothing before. We can do it again. But this time, we fight back." Jum, who has been silent, speaks up. "I have an idea, but you're not going to like it." He reveals he knows someone who works for Santiago Foods. He suggests they find out what Dante is so afraid of on that land he's desperate to get. Chun's friend at Santiago is nervous, but agrees to help. He slips Jun old architectural plans for the city block. They show that their shop and a few others are built on what was once a small historical cemetery. Dante wants to bury this fact to avoid delays and bad publicity. Carmen sees the plans and freezes. She recognizes a name on one of the old plots. Lim. Her face goes pale. She reveals a secret she's kept for 50 years. When Mr. Lim's family forced him to leave her, his own father, the patriarch, secretly helped her. He gave her money to start her life, ashamed of his son's actions. He made her promise never to tell. He is buried on that land. This changes everything. The land isn't just business. It's personal. It holds the grave of the man who showed her kindness when her own family disowned her. Carmen's quiet strength turns into fierce determination. We cannot let him bulldoze that man's memory. We fight. Celia uses her modern skills again, but for a different purpose. She and June dig into public records, old newspapers, and genealogy sites. They find the proof they need. Dante Santiago isn't just a developer. He is the grandson of the original landowner. He knows exactly what's buried there, and is illegally trying to hide it. Armed with their evidence, Celia goes to a local journalist. The journalist is very interested. The next day, Celia waits for the story to break. Instead, she gets a call from the journalist. "I'm sorry, Celia. The story's been killed. My editor says Santiago Foods is a major advertiser. You're up against something much bigger than you think." With the system failing them, the family turns to their community. They tell their neighbors, the sari-sari store owner, the street vendors, the tricycle drivers, what Santiago is trying to do. The news spreads through the Sismus gossip network faster than any newspaper. Dante Santiago plays his final card. He sends hired thugs to intimidate the family. They corner Celia and June in an alley. But before anything happens, a whistle blows. It's their neighbors, led by Aling Nena and her friends, armed with broomsticks and pans. The community protects its own. The thugs retreat. Inspired, Celia decides to take the story directly to the people. She goes live on Facebook from the ashes of her shop. She holds up the documents. She tells the whole story: her mother's past, Mr. Lim's father's kindness, Dante's greed and lies. She doesn't ask for pity. She asks for justice. The video goes viral. #Protect Harmon's Palace trends. People start showing up at the shop not to buy, but to help. Volunteers help them clean up and rebuild. A local lawyer offers pro bono help to fight the permits. The story is now too big for Dante to ignore. Dante Santiago himself shows up at the shop. Not with thugs, but with a camera crew. He paints Celia as a liar trying to stop progress. He announces he will hold a public town hall the next day to clear the air. He is turning her weapon against her. The family must face him in a public showdown. The town hall is packed. Dante gives a smooth speech about jobs and progress. He calls Celia's evidence fake news from a bitter business owner. The crowd is swayed. He asks Celia if she has any real proof. Celia steps forward, but instead of speaking, she helps her mother, Carmen, to the stage. Carmen, small and frail, holds the microphone. In a soft but unwavering voice, she does the one thing she promised never to do. She tells her story. Not with anger, but with truth. She speaks of her love for the younger Lim, the shame, the struggle, and the profound act of kindness from the old man, Dante's own grandfather. "You want to build your future on top of his grave?" She asks Dante. "Would he be proud of you?" The crowd is silent, then erupts in support. Dante is shamed not by documents, but by a story he cannot deny. His own camera crew is filming his humiliation. He leaves in defeat. Weeks later, the permits for the mall are permanently blocked. The Historical Society takes over the site for preservation. With the viral support, a crowdfunding campaign has not only paid off Celia's debt, but provided capital for a new, better shop. The new Carmen's Pastillas shop is opening. It's bigger, brighter, but the heart is the same. Jun manages the production. Celia handles the business. And Carmen sits in a place of honor, greeting customers. The final shot is of the family photo on the wall. It's the same one from the first series finale, but now next to it is the faded photo of young Carmen and Mr. Lim. The past is no longer a ghost to be feared, but a foundation to be acknowledged. They are not hiding from their history anymore. They have built their legacy directly on top of it, and it is unshakable. The end. Please do not forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification button for my updates.